from the Fox 5 studios, this is Silver State Sports Live.
It's a game day and vibes are high, and the Golden Knights have a chance to advance to the Western Conference Finals. Welcome into Silver State Sports Live. I'm Mike Davis.
And I'm Rye Janos. And to add to the Christmas morning feeling or the Hanukkah morning feeling, we don't want
I celebrate both.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. I didn't want you to feel left out. It's also NFL schedule release day. We're taking a look at who the Raiders will be facing this season. Plus, the A's and Aces both secured dubs last night. We're taking a look at how it went down. Stop making me laugh.
Okay.
Oh,
it's
but
my fault.
it is your fault. But let's talk about the team that hopefully can get a win here this evening. The Vegas Golden Knights looking to finish off the Ducks in Game 6. A win puts them in the Western Conference Finals as the Avalanche await their winner. Here's John Tortorella.
I think as each game goes by in the series, you got to be better. I think both teams will be better tonight. We're going to have to be. I don't look at it as game, closing on a series. I just want our team to be better than they were the last game. Well, I think it's will. I think it's chipping out some things that may be hurting you in games, and I think it comes down to a big play, a big save, a big momentum swing. We're, as I say, we're prepared to play. I think we're going to have to be better in all facets, and we'll see where we go.
All right, so here now to help us get ready for Game 6 is our very own Vince Sapienza. Vince, Brayden McNabb is out for tonight, suspended for that big hit in Game 5 that earned him a 5-minute game misconduct. So how does that impact the VGK defensive pairings for tonight's critical Game 6?
John Tortorella said it best, and he said it bluntly. You can't replace a guy like Brayden McNabb. He blocks shots, he plays heavy minutes, and he's really one of your top pairing guys and the leader on the blue line for the Golden Knights. That being said, you have to find a way to do without him, at least for one game. The Golden Knights will put Caden Korczak back in the lineup. Dylan Coghlan will now be paired with Shea Theodore, who moves over to the left side, something he hasn't done since 2024. Dylan Coghlan has showed well so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs in his call-up, but the biggest question mark will be Caden Korczak. Obviously, he gets healthy scratch for the past few games due to some struggles as described by John Tortorella. But I talked to him this morning, and he said, I definitely learned some things watching from above. You see a different viewpoint, a different vantage point when you're up in the press box and you're watching playoff hockey. And he says, I definitely feel like I learned a couple things, and I'm ready to apply it here tonight. The other big positive that Caden Korczak has in his pocket is the fact that he's been a part of a closeout series just last series in Utah. He understands what it takes to go on the road and close out a team that's going to be desperate, that's going to be urgent, and a crowd that's going to be hungry to keep the series alive. Caden Korczak says he's going to be ready for the moment.
Well, you just said some key words there, close it out. How do the Knights finish this thing out, close it out, and advance to the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, I spoke with Brett Howden this morning, and I basically asked him, what are the challenges of a closeout games? They always say the fourth is the hardest to win. Cliche, but it's true. Before I get to Howden, Tortorella said they're not even treating this like a closeout game like the fourth win. They're just trying to get their game in a better spot, continuing to grow. And that's an easy thing to say, understanding what the stakes are. But speaking to the players, specifically Howden, he regurgitated basically the exact same thing Tortorella told us prior to morning skate, which tells us a couple things. It tells us that the team is buying into what Tortorella is saying, and they are living it, they are breathing it. Now they have to go act like it. I did say, it's easier said than done. And he says, it's always been about us. And while all respect is given to the Anaheim Ducks of what they have done and how good of a team they are, at the end of the day, it comes down to the Golden Knights. Are they playing at their best? Tortorella said the first period was good in Game 5, but the second was one of the worst, if not the worst, in the postseason for them. They're looking to build their game. They're looking to get better. What does that look like? A north-south game, getting pucks in deep, chasing them down, grinding them down. Does that sound familiar? It's the exact blueprint of what we saw in the Utah series. The Golden Knights canceled out their speed by grinding them down, checking them well, making them work harder and harder to the point where the Golden Knights were able to capitalize. They got it to a 3-2 series lead in Utah. They closed it out in Game 6. Vegas looking to do the same here tonight.
Thank you, Vince. Still to come on Silver State Sports Live, it's NFL schedule release day. Which of the Raiders' opponents are going to give them the most trouble? We're discussing that next.
This week on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Your Triple SEN lineup is sponsored by AAA Roadside Assistance. Visit AAA today.
You're watching Silver State Sports Live.
All right, so before we know it, the football season will be upon us, thank God. And while we wait for that joyous occasion, the NFL is still giving us something worth celebrating today with the schedule release.
Yes, and while we don't know who the Raiders will be playing each game, the exact schedule just yet, we do know who they're going to be facing. So let's take a look at this beautiful graphic that James Edward Barrickman IV cooked up for us. So here is a list of everything and everyone we're playing. Home and away, you see all the different helmets there. Let's break it down. Of course, being in the AFC West, you know you're going to have to face the Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers 3 times, twice each. So you got 3 at home, 3 away. That's tough to begin with. But then at home, you see there's a lot of critical, tough games at home. You got the Rams, you got the Seahawks, you got the Bills. 2 wins should be the Dolphins and the Titans. That's what you would think. On the road then, you know, it's a little easier. You got the Cardinals, you got the Jets, you got the Browns, but still, you got the Patriots and the Niners. It's a pretty rough schedule.
The Browns also messed them up pretty bad last year. Now, I know this is a completely new team, but there is something to consider there with that.
I mean, anything could happen with this Raiders team. Now, for everybody at home, the strength of schedule is what you look at when you don't know the exact schedule at this moment. So strength of schedule-wise, they're the 7th toughest in the entire NFL, which is pretty crazy.
Right.
But I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Mariah. Where do you see this team having the most trouble? Where do you kind of put their win total at?
Yeah, you know, so Vegas sportsbooks have the win total at 5.5. I think they actually get above this number. I currently have them around 6 or 7 wins. Some of the teams, I think they will steal a win against the Chiefs. They always find a way to pull one out randomly. I think it's really tough to gauge, though, because this is a new look offense. Even the defense, this whole team has been reconstructed. And so it's really hard to get a read or get a gauge. It's easy for us to get hyped up and excited, but they have been hammering home that it's going to take a few years for this team to really come to fruition the way that we're all getting excited about. So right now, yeah, I have them possibly getting wins against the Chiefs, Titans, Jets, Saints, Cards, Dolphins, the question marks, the Browns, even the Patriots maybe. I don't feel good about the Patriots with all of the offseason drama that's surrounding this franchise. I can't see how Mike Vrabel really gets his team locked in and on track, which is really...
You being from Boston and saying that.
It hurts me to say that, but I'm very skeptical and wary of this upcoming season. I think they're going to have a serious downfall this year. I think last year's strength of schedule obviously played into the first overall seed or that second overall seed in the AFC. So I am a little skeptical about where the Patriots head from here. So I could see the Raiders taking advantage of that opportunity.
And a lot of this comes down to whether it's going to be Kirk Cousins or Fernando Mendoza at the helm. You know, so we don't even know how that's going to shake out. But to me, when you look at this, I mean, I actually think it's very realistic for maybe, you know, the Raiders aren't going to go 0-6 against AFC West opponents, but I could see them going 1-5, 2-4. They'll usually sneak out a win against the Chiefs, like you mentioned, maybe the Broncos or Chargers. So I think that's 2-4. You're absolutely not going to be beating Josh Allen. No. You're not going to be beating the Rams, you know, the Seahawks. These are playoff contender teams. I mean, Super Bowl contending teams. Yeah. So to me, you know, even the Titans are going to be a lot better in year 2 with a whole new coaching staff. So I really think the sad thing is at home, you might be looking at 2 wins.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing is for people paying for these tickets, there's going to be a lot of blockbuster games here. You're going to get to see the Super Bowl champions. You're going to get to see McVay and Stafford. You'll see Josh Allen. So it's going to be, blockbuster stuff. It's just there's not going to probably be a lot of wins at home. Now on the road, I don't know. I'm scared of even the Saints. So I think, to me, 6 games is what I'm going to call it for this team, which might not be the worst thing for a team.
Significantly better than last season.
Right, it's better than last season, and it still puts them in the top part of next year's draft where they can maybe get a Jeremiah Smith or something like that. A top wide receiver prospect would be great for this team. So I'm going with 6. What are you going to go with?
I will probably match you at that because I have gotten a front row seat every Sunday to just how dark things can get at the fortress at the Death Star. So I'll put them at 6. I'm cautiously optimistic. Maybe things will change, but I think it's going to take a minute for this group to really come together and for them to figure out what works where.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens. Now let's shift to some basketball.
Yeah, the Aces have strung together back-to-back wins since the embarrassing season opener butt whooping by the Phoenix Mercury. The wins coming against the Sparks and most recently last night against the Sun. The scoring leader in both of these wins, newcomer Kennedy Carter, who is taking full advantage of this opportunity after not playing in the W at all last season. The Lightning quick guard dropped 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists against Connecticut, coming off the bench no less, and it has Becky Hammond singing her praises.
I mean, she's obviously elite out at getting downhill and finishing, and the speed is eye-popping. I think, especially if you haven't really seen it, or you haven't seen it in a while, it's like, man, some of the moves she makes is crazy. But yeah, she keeps getting integrated. The biggest thing with her is I'm on her for defense and effort all the time, and her really playing both ends of the floor. And she's really, like I said, settling into those little nuances that I'm asking her to do.
All right, great stuff there. That could be the move, the transaction of the year. Coming up, look at that. An electric major league debut for Henry Bolte. We got athletics announcer Johnny Dasco breaking it down, and a lot more after the break.
You're watching Silver State Sports Live.
Well, an exciting hump day last night for the A's, not only featuring a win for the Athletics, but a debut that was electric and a grand slam.
You really couldn't ask for more. Such an exciting night. So let's take a look at it. A's number 5 prospect, Henry Bolte, shined in his major league debut, going 2 for 2 at the plate with a ribby and a walk. So good to see him thriving.
But beyond the presence at the plate, check this baby out. The defense. A great diving snag, showing off the athleticism in center. Hell of a debut for the kid from Palo Alto who actually grew up rooting for the A's.
We love it. From Bolte to Boom, the big Amish making waves last night as he had a big old grand salami, extending his on-base streak to 36 games. That's why they call him Nicky Nukes, you guys.
Exactly. Great nicknames all around. Henry Bolte needs one, but I just know I love saying grand salami. That's so much better than grand slam.
Oh, way better. And who doesn't love salami?
Yeah, we love processed meat. Now, let me tell you, this A's team is super exciting, and there's always a lot to discuss. A's broadcaster Johnny Dasco joined me on Covering the Bases with the A's to break down Bolte's debut and so much more. Take a look. Johnny Dasco, the great Johnny Dasco, Athletics broadcaster. Johnny, let's start with this. Henry Bolte, the Athletics number 5 prospect. He has his debut yesterday, goes 2 for 2, RBI walk, makes a great snag in center field as well. How special is this kid going to be? And just let's talk about his story. How special is it, the fact that he grew up as a fan of the Athletics in Palo Alto?
I mean, you couldn't have scripted it any better, right? Grows up in Palo Alto, huge A's fan, drafted by the A's, second-round pick, and, takes a little time to get through the system. He's drafted in 22, But really, the last few years, he's really put himself on the map with everything he's done. And just as, historically hitting at AAA, the fact that he had 12 consecutive hits, the fact that he had 9 extra base hits in 2 games, he was 14 for 28, just doing things that people hadn't done, or what was he? I think he was like 21 for 38 or 24 for 38 is what he was. There it is, 24 for 38. So he was on some kind of tear, and he's a special player, great athlete. He can run, he can go get it. He's got an arm, he's got power, and he brings energy, right? Like you could see it yesterday. He brings energy to the entire dugout. So he's going to lift up this team, not just with what he does on the field, but just his presence. And just 22 years old, great teammate. But yeah, 2 for 2 with a couple of walks and a great diving catch. Pretty nice way to start your major league career. And he had a bunch of family and friends in the stands, which was pretty cool to see as well. So he's going to be special for sure.
Yeah, when you're having that kind of production in AAA here in Vegas, I mean, you have no choice but to call up a guy like that. And what's so special about this team, and I think what general manager David Force has really done, is the depth, the collective that we have here. When you have Max Muncy out, Jacob Wilson out, Denzel Clark, Rooker's back, but he was out. I mean, all these guys, these players, when you have to go to the minors and even to the bench to bring up players that can actually contribute right off the bat. Zach Geloff was a guy who started at second. Now he's at third. Speak to the depth of this team and specifically how Zach Geloff is transitioning to third with Jeff McNeil at second.
Yeah, great question. And you have to give credit to not only David Force, the entire front office. These guys work as a group together. And not only with what they've done with the farm system, but the 6-year free agents they pick up, the Carlos Cortezes and guys like that have done such a good job. But with Geloff specifically, I mean, look, he's drafted as a third baseman, goes to second base, plays well there. He's a tremendous athlete. Then he goes to center field and doesn't miss a beat. He never played center field, not in high school or college or in his life. You had to go back to Little League. Never in his life had he played the outfield. His first time playing the outfield was in spring training this year. And he has made 3 tremendous catches. He's covered a lot of ground out there. He's just making the adjustment to center field. Then he goes to third base, and you're wondering, well, he hasn't played third base in a while. How's he going to do? Well, he's been tremendous, not only with the plays. We know to his right, to his left, the athleticism is going to be there, but also plays coming in. As a third baseman, that's the most challenging ball, is the little chopper coming in. He hasn't missed a beat on those. So, look, he's going to have growing pains at third base, but for the most part, he's been phenomenal. And so I think, yeah, that it does speak to the depth too. You have Darrell Hernandez picked up in the Orioles a couple of years ago. He's playing shortstop now with Wilson out. Let's be honest, the Wilson injury is going to hurt. I mean, the guy is going to hit 300. He's going to win a couple batting titles. And to lose his defense, over 70 consecutive games without committing an error. So we got to tell you, I mean, to be honest about it, it is going to hurt not having him, but it does speak to the depth that a guy like Hernandez can come in and play well. So yeah, give David Force and the A's a ton of credit for not only the depth of the farm system, but also signing some of these 6-year free agents that have helped out as well.
Thank you to the one and only Johnny Dasco. To see the full conversation, just go to our YouTube page at Silver State Sports. All right.
A major trade impacting producer James and his well-being, as well as my wonderful me, the co-host. I guess I'm wonderful.
You are. You're super wonderful.
Next, what's happening?
You're watching Silver State Sports Live.
All right, so we got some breaking news that directly impacts my wonderful co-host Mariah and my wonderful producer James. I have no clue what's happening.
Yeah.
All I know is we're not tossing the John Tortorella. But Mariah,
no, it's
take
serious stuff. There's a trade going down between Boston and Pittsburgh that's going to rattle the fan bases. Let me break this down for you. The Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium is set to trade gorillas with Boston's Franklin Park Zoo. Frankie, Pittsburgh's 7-year-old male western lowland gorilla, will head to Boston, and in exchange, Boston will send 33-year-old Little Joe, the Silverback, to Pittsburgh.
Wait, is this according to Adam Schefter? Who is
Literally.
this according
Now,
to?
Frankie has been described as having good vibes. He's playful and chill. And in Boston, Frankie will join 2 other male gorillas his size and age to form a bachelor group, which I figured you could maybe take part in as well.
Absolutely.
And then meanwhile, Little Joe, who's been described as curious, intelligent, and gentle.
Oh, that's me.
He's gonna, this actually might be more your speed, because he's in his 30s, you know, he's gonna go hang with the ladies of Pittsburgh.
Joe.
He's joining 3 gorilla females.
Wow.
So one's going to be a bachelor and one's going to kind of get triple wifed up.
This sounds incredible.
This sounds like your dream.
What was the impetus for this trade? Why did they need to do this?
You know, Little Joe has escaped the Franklin Park
Has
Zoo
he?
before.
What?
And so I think they're just, you know,
Like
Boston.
King Kong.
We're kind of tired of the drama. We need to
Gotcha.
send out the drama and kind of switch up the vibes a little bit. So I think it was just a matter of out with the old, in with the new. Bring on Frankie, send out Little Joe. And see what happens.
I wonder if they use after they relieve themselves, do they use terrible towels to wipe up?
They might.
You know, in this trade, is that part of it?
It might. You know, fun fact, my brother did an internship at the Franklin Park Zoo.
Paul? What was Paul doing there?
He was shoveling poop.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
I love that kid. See, that builds grit. That's what we need. We need more people like Paul.
Yeah, because Paul Giano screams grit.
He does.
Okay.
That takes courage.
All right.
I love it.